Hi, it's Patrick Hutzel from Intensive Care at Home, where we provide tailor-made solutions for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies by improving their quality of life, and where we also provide tailor-made solutions to hospitals and intensive care units to save money and resources whilst providing quality care. In last week's blog I shared Anna Carolina has been in PICU for over 1,000 days. When can she go home? You can check out last week's blog by clicking on the link below this video. In this week's blog I want to share what are indications for mechanical home ventilation and intensive care at home. Some people ask, what are the indications for an intensive care patient to go home? It's a good question to ask, and I'm glad that more and more people are curious and want to know. From my perspective, anybody who has been in intensive care for more than 4 weeks, is on a ventilator, has a tracheostomy and can't be weaned off quickly is a candidate for going home. Consider this. Anybody on a ventilator in intensive care who has a tracheostomy, is medically stable, is a candidate for going home. Even if you think it's not possible, think again. Generally speaking, indications are chronic respiratory failure, diseases of impaired respiratory control, central alveolar hypoventilation, neuromuscular diseases, spinal cord injuries, nerve or muscular diseases, for example muscular dystrophy, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, diaphragm paralysis, chest wall diseases, thoracoplasty, for example TB, pulmonary diseases, Guillain-Barré syndrome, COPD, cystic fibrosis, bronchiectasis, single or bilateral lung transplant, and ventilator dependency. Remember, whenever long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies are in intensive care, there is always an option to continue care and treatment at home and improving their quality of life as well as their family's quality of life. If you are not familiar with the concept of intensive home care nursing services, you may still question the concept. I get that. If you, for example, had, like I have, been looking after many long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies in the past, as well as currently, you would be on the same page. Some of our current and past clients have greatly benefited from going home from intensive care and have dramatically improved their quality of life and in some instances their quality of end of life. If you look at the indications again, you will find that some patients can go home to be weaned off the ventilator. For example, like patients with Guillain-Barré syndrome. Others might be on a ventilator for the rest of their lives, and for some ventilator dependency might be short-lived in an end-of-life situation. No matter the circumstances, intensive care at home provides a win-win situation. Not only do we improve the quality of life for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies, we also help improve to reduce the cost by nearly 50% compared to $5,000 per bed day in intensive care. With our intensive care at home services, everybody is winning, including the budget of hospitals, departments of health, the TAC, Department of Veteran Affairs, and private health funds. What are your thoughts? Can you think of any other indications where intensive care at home services and mechanical home ventilation is appropriate? Share your comments on the blog. For more information you can contact me on 041 094 2230 or simply send me an email to patrick@intensivecareathome.com.au. It's Patrick, just with a K at the end. We are also currently hiring enthusiastic and experienced intensive care nurses with critical care certificate. We would also like to hear from you if you have a minimum of 2 years pediatric ICU experience, as we have opportunities there as well. For more information, check out our career section, or again, you can contact me. You can also contact me if you want to know more about how we can help you and your intensive care unit to free up some of your beds, or if you have a loved one in intensive care, give us a call. We are also a DVA, Department of Veteran Affairs approved community service provider now. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's blog. This is Patrick Hutzel from Intensive Care at Home, and I see you again next week in another update.